Imagine having a 3-day weekend every single week. No, not just on holiday weekends, but as your new normal. An extra day to sleep in, to start that side hustle, to actually see your friends, or just to catch up on life without that frantic Sunday evening dread. It sounds like a fantasy, right? The kind of daydream you have during a pointless meeting that could have been an email. The kind of idea that, if you said it out loud, might get you laughed out of a performance review. Work 20% less for the same pay and somehow be more productive? It feels like a trick. A promise that's just too good to be true, designed to go viral on TikTok, but impossible in the real world. But what if it's not a trick? What if this isn't just a trendy employee perk, but a powerful business strategy backed by overwhelming evidence? What if the biggest experiment in the history of work has already been run, with thousands of employees across the globe, analyzed by top researchers from institutions like the University of Cambridge and Boston College? Today on GENSHIFT, we're cutting through the hype and the skepticism to answer one massive question. Is the 4-day work week a fleeting fad or the legitimate future of work? The data is in, and the results are nothing short of game-changing. If you're ready for the strategic intelligence you need to navigate your career, make sure you're subscribed to GENSHIFT, and let's get into it. One, the rise of the compressed week. What is the 4-day work week? First, let's be clear about what we're actually talking about. The 4-day work week that's causing all this buzz isn't about cramming 40 hours of stress into 4 grueling 10-hour days. That's just redistributing the pain. The true model, the one that's delivering these incredible results, is what's known as the 180-100 principle. That means you get 100% of your pay for working 80% of your previous hours on the condition that you deliver 100% of your agreed-upon output. It's a radical shift that forces us to ask a fundamental question. Are we paid for our time or for our results? For the last century, the answer has been time. The 40-hour, 5-day work week feels like a law of nature, but it's not. It's a human invention born out of the Industrial Revolution when people fought to escape 100-hour weeks in dangerous factories. It was an industrialist, Henry Ford, who famously popularized the 5-day week in 1926. He realized that exhausted workers were unproductive, and perhaps more importantly, that people with a weekend off had time to go out and buy the very cars they were building. It was a revolutionary business decision for its time. But that was almost 100 years ago. Our work has changed. Our technology has changed. So why hasn't the structure of our week? The answer is, it's starting to. This conversation is exploding now for a few critical reasons. The first is the burnout epidemic. Chronic workplace stress is so rampant that the World Health Organization now officially recognizes it as an occupational phenomenon. The old model is literally making us sick, and companies are starting to realize that exhausted employees are not productive employees. The second and most powerful driver is you. Gen Z is entering the workforce with a fundamentally different set of values. A staggering 93% of Gen Z workers say a 4-day week would make a job more appealing. This isn't about being lazy, it's about redefining ambition. It's a rejection of the old hustle culture that wore burnout as a badge of honor in favor of a new ambition focused on sustainability, mental health, and having a life outside of a job title. Then came the great global catalyst, the pandemic. It forced a worldwide experiment in remote work that shattered the decades-old myth that productivity requires constant supervision in a cubicle. Companies were forced to trust their people, and for the most part, it worked. This opened the door to even more radical ideas about how, where, and when we work. And finally, there's the rise of technology. With AI and automation promising to make us more efficient than ever, a crucial question arises. Who gets to benefit from those productivity gains? Should they only fatten the company's bottom line, or should they be shared with employees in the form of reclaimed time? This confluence of burnout, new values, and new technology has created the perfect storm, but it also reveals a deeper truth. The 4-day week isn't just a wellness perk, it's a Trojan horse for radical efficiency. The companies that succeed don't just cut a day, they are forced to hunt down and eliminate waste, pointless meetings, clunky software, redundant processes to make the new model possible. It's a system upgrade disguised as a day off. 2. The global experiment, data, debates, and disclosures. The theory sounds great, but does it actually work in the messy reality of the real world? To find out, researchers at institutions like Cambridge, Oxford, and Boston College have conducted the largest and most comprehensive trials on working time in history. They didn't just survey people. They tracked revenue, sick days, and employee turnover. The results are not just positive, they are overwhelmingly conclusive. Let's start with the big one. The 2022 UK trial, the largest of its kind in the world. It involves 61 companies and nearly 3,000 employees, spanning every sector you can imagine, from high-end finance and marketing firms to a local fish and chip shop. After 6 months, the results were so profound that 92% of the companies decided to continue with the 4-day week, with many making the change permanent. Now, get ready for the data. During the trial, company revenue didn't just hold steady. On average, it actually increased by 1.4%. At the same time, employee burnout plummeted by an incredible 71%. The number of sick days taken dropped by 65%. And maybe most importantly for any business leader watching, the number of staff who quit fell by 57%. This wasn't just a win for well-being. It was a massive win for the bottom line. But maybe that was a fluke. Let's look at Iceland. Between 2015 and 2019, they ran a series of trials involving over 2,500 people, more than 1% of the country's entire working population. The results were, again, an overwhelming success. So much so that it triggered a nationwide societal shift. Today, nearly 90% of Iceland's workforce either has a shorter work week or has the legal right to negotiate for one. Productivity was maintained or improved, and researchers noted a fascinating social benefit. With more time at home, men reported taking on a greater share of household chores and childcare, creating a positive impact on gender equality. Then there's the pioneering case of Perpetual Guardian, a 240-person company in New Zealand that became a global headline back in 2018. After their trial, they made the change permanent, citing a 20% lift in productivity, a 27% reduction in employee stress, and a massive 45% increase in reported work-life balance. The founder, Andrew Barnes, summed up the philosophy perfectly when he said, "I don't employ you to get X number of hours. I employ you to deliver me an amount of output. I don't care if you deliver that in 4 days of the week or 5. This gets to the heart of how these results are possible. It's not magic. It's a direct consequence of redesigning work. In these trials, employees and their managers collaboratively cut down on time-wasting activities, shortened meetings, and focused intensely on what actually moved the needle. The staggering 57% drop in staff turnover in the UK trial reveals something profound. In an era defined by the Great Resignation and intense competition for talent, the 4-day week has become a recruitment and retention superweapon. Companies like the e-commerce firm Bolt reported a 200% increase in qualified applicants after announcing their switch to a 4-day model. The cost of constantly hiring and training new people is a massive drain on any company. By dramatically reducing turnover and becoming a magnet for top talent, the 4-day week isn't an expense. It's a strategic investment that can pay for itself many times over. 3. Future forward. Who's it for and what's next? The evidence is clear, but that leads to the next big question. Can this really work for everyone? The path of least resistance is certainly in knowledge-based industries. Tech, marketing, finance, professional services, where a person's output isn't tied to a physical location or a service counter. But what about the sectors that form the backbone of our economy? Manufacturing, retail, and healthcare. This is where the real innovation is needed. Critics often dismiss the 4-day week as a fantasy for laptop workers, but case studies are proving them wrong. It's difficult, but not impossible. In retail, UK companies like Wickies and Sainsbury's are successfully using staggered schedules and flexible hours to maintain 7-day customer coverage while still giving staff more time off. In the incredibly demanding field of healthcare, a hospital in Fürth, Germany, launched a pilot where staff could work slightly longer shifts over 4 days to get a 3-day weekend, all while maintaining standards of patient care. These models require more creativity, but they show it can be done. This reveals the true barrier to widespread adoption. It isn't logistics, it's a deeply ingrained cultural mindset. For a century, we've been conditioned by the industrial era belief that time in the seat equals value and productivity. The biggest hurdle is management fear, a lack of trust, and a resistance to letting go of the old ways of controlling employees. If we can overcome that cultural inertia, the potential societal ripple effects are enormous. With a widespread third weekend day, our cities and communities could transform. Less commuting means less traffic and a significant reduction in carbon emissions. More free time means more local spending. That extra day off could revitalize downtowns, with people spending money at local restaurants, shops, and entertainment venues. And for our generation, perhaps the most exciting implication is the explosion of the creator economy. That extra day becomes an incubation day. It's the day you finally launch your Etsy store, build your Substack newsletter, take on freelance clients, or start that YouTube channel you've been dreaming about. It empowers individuals to build their own brands and income streams, blurring the lines between employee and entrepreneur. However, as this model rolls out, we must confront a potential new social divide. If the 4-day week is adopted easily by office workers but struggles to gain traction in frontline service jobs, we risk creating a 4-day knowledge class and a 5-day service class. This isn't a reason to abandon the idea, but it highlights the central challenge we must solve to ensure this revolution benefits everyone, not just a privileged few. Conclusion. So, after digging through the data from around the globe, what's the verdict? Is the 4-day work week a fad or the future? The evidence is clear and overwhelming. This is not a fad. It is a proven, powerful blueprint for a more productive, healthier, and more sustainable future of work. It succeeds because it's built on a simple yet revolutionary principle, a shift from valuing our time to valuing our output. It's about trusting people to do their best work and then giving them the time to live their best lives. The question is no longer if it works, but how we make it work for everyone. What do you think? Could this model fly in your industry? And what would you do with a guaranteed 3-day weekend? Share your thoughts in your industry in the comments below. Let's build the playbook together. For more strategic insights that put you ahead of the curve, make sure you're subscribed to GENSHIFT. We'll see you next time.